No Kenyan is too little. No Kenyan is too small. You know, they are thinking, oh, if we arrest someone of a big caliber, that's when there will be public. Kenyans don't care. Even if you arrest someone who is a janitor and you have infringed on their human rights, we will speak about it.
Hey there and welcome to FANYA Mambo Africa. Today is not a very exciting episode because of the happenings that we are experiencing in Kenya. And I don't know how FANYA Mambo you feel about generally the environment in the country.
You don't have to start by saying hi. Hi, cousin.
Oh, hi, cousin.
Hi, cousin.
Well, yes. Now that we have new salams.
Squeezy, everybody's hi, cousin. Yeah, and then after that, we obviously go to a very sad note. Because a young man's body is like, you know, I haven't even gotten to terms with calling it a body.
Yeah,
just
it's
the other day we were saying
Ojwang.
Albert Ojwang. Now we have to say his body. It's not making sense to me. It's not, it's very painful. And now he's lying in a morgue. And then we have seen the commissioner of police, and then the DIG having press conferences. Allow me to dive into it. Just
I was going to go to that after because I needed to know how your feeling is because you see the environment in the country.
Nobody's happy. Yeah.
Okay, let's go into it.
I think first and foremost, my condolences to the family. Ojwang's dad, wherever you are, nothing. I mean, there's no collection of words we can put together to console you. Nothing. Even if we try, go to the dictionary, even if we go to ChatGPT and tell them, give us a message of condolence, even AI is not smart enough to come up with something that can be told to the father of that young man, or the mother of that young man, to make them feel anything close to peace. It's not possible. So the only thing is we can pray for them. That the God who gives peace gives them peace. And the God who comforts people comforts them. Because we can't. I mean, I have tried. In fact, I was trying to put together. Umeandika unararua, you write, there was nothing. So I just came and said, you know, I'll sit here and just say condolences to the family. May the Lord God grant them peace that surpasses human understanding. But then when we get to it, what we are angry about more than anything else is what the police are treating us to. So a young man is arrested. At least this time it's not abduction because they took him to a cell. A young man is arrested somewhere in Homa Bay and they drive him close to 400 kilometers to Nairobi, which in the first place is an illegality in law. There is no crime that can happen in Homa Bay that cannot be prosecuted in Homa Bay. If this young man had committed any crime, as they say, in fact, they spent him the Special Crimes Prevention Unit, like, you know, what was it that a Homa Bay court could not have done? How big was he that he could not have fit in a cell in Homa Bay? Also, IG Kanja, we are not happy. This nonsense you're treating us to, and I call it nonsense. You're dealing with people at Central Police Station. Why are the police keen on protecting the first criminals in this chain? The people who arrested him and drove him 400 kilometers. We have not heard a word about them. Can you imagine? The government is so keen on protecting abductors, perpetrators of injustice, and that's why they are not allowing us to know who they are. Munakuja munatoa OCS, munatoa the police officers who are involved at Central Police Station. Nobody wants us to know the names and the faces of the men and women, if they are women, who took this young man from Homa Bay and brought him to Central Police. Nobody wants to have a conversation about those ones. Why? Because they want to keep them hidden so that they can use them for the next abduction. It was just the other day the president made an apology. Na tukasema hii ni upuzi. Tukasema this apology means nothing. Kenyans, it was bullshit. It was nothing. There was no apology. The other day he promised the Finnish president that no other young person will be abducted. Now here we are.
Before we divert to what the president said, I'm still stuck on Albert's case. When you are arrested by the police, you become a guest of the state for that situation or time that they keep you in. When a police cell then becomes a death penalty space, what does that mean for us as citizens? Because the only people we have to protect as Kenyans is actually the police. So now when the police convert from a cell of holding you until justice, gets his course, to a place where you die.
There's so many of us imagining that the young man was tortured in the cell. What we haven't been told is in what condition was he taken to Central Police cells? What condition was he in? Had he been beaten along the way? Had he been tortured along the way? We are only being told about the recipients of the guest. Nobody is telling us about the people who delivered the guest. And nobody is telling us about the condition of the person when he was being delivered in the cell. And I know for any people who've been to Central Police Station cells, because we have been there and we have also tried to help some people to come from there, there's barely enough space for the inmates. How they managed to secure a special cell for him alone is what baffles every Nairobian.
On a weekend.
On a weekend. In fact, ask anybody who's been thrown into those cells. It is hardly possible to have any comfort in those cells. But here we are being treated to the nonsense, high degree nonsense, that it is possible that this young man would have been able to get his own cell. How special.
I don't know if you've seen the photos that have been circulating of his body.
Yes,
then do you believe what the police said? Because they spoke of he was hitting himself on a wall. And that is what is making us, when you look at the image, it doesn't look like someone who was hitting. In fact, it looks like more someone hit him than what they claim.
I'm not a post-mortem expert. But I will tell you one thing. Once post-mortem is done, probably even the injuries that caused his death are not on his head. So let's agree with the high degree nonsense that he was hitting himself on the wall. And then let them tell us if he has wounds on other parts of his body, including internal bleeding, whether those wounds were inflicted by hitting those parts of. Can you hit your ribs on the wall, for example? We want to know. We want to know whether he has fractures on his hands. You see, it's very easy to know. Amna akili. Let me tell you, I'm not a post-mortem expert. But if anybody tries to hit your head, the first thing you do is you place your hands to cover your head. If this young man has got fractures, then you must imprison those policemen. Because the first thing you do anytime, it's so natural. Hata saini kikushtua, you'll put your hands over your head. So you think they were beating him and he was not trying to cover his head. He will obviously have fractures on his hands. It's basic common sense. Ondoa post-mortem. Basic common sense. A guy who was beaten by another person usually has dislocated and fractured hands. Before that kind of damage comes to your face, human beings have got self-preservation mechanisms. And one of them is they try to cover their faces with their hands. So if Albert has got any fracture, Albert was tortured.
And if you think about it, more critical, when you're in a police cell, you ought to be safe, right? Even if you're put in a cell alone, I want to believe there's a mechanism where police take the number of, like they call out names after every, maybe 6 a.m., 6 p.m., whatever time they agree on, just to ensure everyone in there is safe. Because I don't think it is right for anyone to die in a police cell. So are we saying then they failed on this, to know that if someone would hit themselves on a wall, then there was no one on duty to check?
Mm-hmm. It's not about there being someone on duty to check. Kenyans will not be satisfied, I said, until we see those officers who brought him there. Anything else you do is nonsense. Until those three are brought, until those three are interjected, until those three are also sent on compulsory leave, nothing is going to happen. Until the Deputy Inspector General of the Police, the DIG Langat, is suspended, nothing is going to happen. He's a very senior, high-ranking officer within the police force. He has admitted that he was the complainant in this. The Inspector General of Police has admitted the Langatao, so he is a person of interest. Can you imagine you are a constable or you're a DCI officer, the rank of a corporal, and you're supposed to inspect someone at the level of the Deputy Inspector General of the Police? How will you conduct independent investigations? And you know, police are supposed to follow orders. So he gives you an order and tells you, throw away that paper. Tear away this evidence. What do you do? So, Kanja, over to you. Mr. President, over to you. First, Langat must step aside. He must. He doesn't have a choice. He must step aside and be seen to step aside. In fact, a court order should be issued saying that he should not be seen anywhere within 200 meters of any police station. Hata kama anaishi karibu na police station ahame kwanza. So that these investigations are done without junior officers feeling, I am investigating my senior who has got the powers to transfer me to Lokichogio in the following day. That for us is what we want.
When you saw yesterday when there was the DIG, there was the IG, and there was, I think, Masengeli, and then there was the IPOA chairman. When you saw all these people give this press conference, what was going through your mind? And from the body language, I mean, we may not be experts, but what do you make of that whole scenario?
They were uncomfortable. They were uncomfortable because they were saying the person who gave the orders is here. And that cannot be taken away. It's already come out. It's come out from them. That's a good thing. It cannot be taken away. He ordered for that. He's amongst them. Now they were uncomfortable because the person who ordered for it is right here. And he holds a high senior position. So, but there's another angle to it, which Kenyans are not looking at. Albert was 31, which means he had voted.
Is it 31 or 27?
One of the two. Either way, he voted in 2022. Yes. He voted for an MCA, voted for an MP, a senator, a governor, all the way to the president. How many of those people that Albert and his parents did literally queue to vote for have spoken against this? At least I have seen Governor Homa Bay, Governor Wanga, come out and say, just block such a person. At least she's come out to condemn this, and I hope it will go beyond her condemning this. They even voted for a presidential candidate. Those people for whom these people queued and voted, what are they saying? I mean, your voter has been killed. Someone who participated in making you the person you are today and to sit on the seat you're sitting on. Shame on anybody who has not commented on this issue. Shame on anybody who is looking at political convenience and saying, oh, we are in government. So, tunataka MCA wa kijiji chake, where the father comes from. We want a statement from that MC. The MP from his constituency, we want a statement. The senator, at least the governor has issued. And if they voted for a presidential candidate, that presidential candidate must pronounce themselves on this and they must condemn it. And maybe in addition to that, if you are the MCA that he voted for, are you still going to say kumi bila breaks? Because what you're trying to say is kumi ingi another 5 ya kuua vijana. If you are the MP, if you are the senator, Gladys Wanga, are you still going to say kumi bila breaks? Are you going to say two-term? Because two-term literally means every day coming and saying, killing of young people has stopped, and then presiding over the killing of those young people and doing nothing about it. I wish the head of state would have come out very strongly. When tulifanya maandamano, he came himself. Baka akatuita criminals. Why is he not coming out right now and calling those people criminals? He has not said anything. Very many hours later, the head of state is silent. He should not have been the DIG. The head of state should have said, no, the buck stops with me. I am the one who was elected by Kenyans. And I have come to say, as a head of state, I don't support this, and I have taken the following actions. That has not happened. There should have been a serious crisis meeting. The Committee on Security in Parliament should be sitting by now. They should be telling us about if cells are going to become places where people will die, who will have their children go to a cell?
The body that we put up so that they can sort of have a look at what the police do, especially when they go out of their way, is IPOA. What was the role of the IPOA chairman in that press conference yesterday? Doesn't it give a kind of questionable feeling? Because now they're supposed to investigate, especially the complainant was there.
IPOA has failed us terribly. Because what IPOA should have done, First is they should have avoided that press conference. IPOA should have had that was a police press conference, coming to sanitize this nonsense. I mean, what was wrong with Isaac Hassan? He couldn't see that the people who arrested this young man, the first crime that was committed was moving him 400 kilometers away. That was a crime. That was wrong. Ni kama mnasema Homa Bay hakuna koti, Kisumu hakuna koti, Eldoret hakuna koti, hata Nakuru, mlipita mpaka Nakuru. No, shame on them. IPOA should have had their own independent press conference, separate from that place, and told, now that's a police press conference. Ours says IPOA, because we are supposed to investigate them. When we come into a joint press conference with them, what if they say things that IPOA does not agree with? Because now IPOA looks complicit. When the police decide to selectively choose who they are going to suspend from job, and IPOA is there, it means IPOA is rubber stamping what the police are doing. Isaac Hassan, umetuangusha. You have failed us terribly. What Isaac Hassan should have done is they should have had their own briefing, still at Central Police Station, so that they are seen to be there, but give their own independent set of rules and guidelines and facts as they see them.
I remember when IPOA was coming in place, there was a whole campaign, I think, during the Kibaki second term, of transforming the police from a force to a service. And a lot of campaigns were done to even make Polisi ni Rafiki or something. There was a whole campaign. Have the police then failed to meet that standard? And if yes, what has put them there? What has caused that?
They haven't. The police haven't. In fact, I feel bad because the bulk of the policemen I meet every day, I don't know about your experience or any other Kenyan, have been very friendly people.
There are good police,
but there's a crop of creatures called DCI who move in Subarus and they mask their nose and they have caps and they carry K-47 and they don't want to be seen. And those are the people who are making the police force look bad. Because when you abduct someone or you transport someone in a Subaru from that Homa Bay to Nairobi, what's going on in your brain?
Well,
an ordinary
orders were given, as you said.
It's a waste of our money. Your fuel ni yetu jamani. That young man would angetoshea kwa cell Homa Bay. There are enough cells. Na ifike asubuhi, there are enough judges, there are enough magistrates in Homa Bay. And he take a plea if they had any complaint. I think it's a high time we change the act that governs our Kenya police. And then we have cells for DCI. And then we train some people within DCI to be presenting people to court. Ndio DCI wakishika, police wanasema, huyo ni mtu wa DCI. Wanapeleka, then they have a special cell ya DCI. And then those people appear in court. So that if that person was arrested in the evening from his family and he was okay, and he appears tortured in the morning, the family will not ask the police. They'll ask DCI. And then those ones who are arrested by the police, they are not taken to the cells. Let them be taken to police cells. Because now it's gotten to a place where the police are blaming the DCI are blaming the police. Where is Mwananchi left? In the middle. To us, they are part of one body, Kenya, called the Kenya Police Service. But from where we sit, they have to make and play those games. The DCI, because now the police covertly are sending people online to say it's DCI who tortured him. And the DCI, of course, sending their people to say it's the police who tortured him and killed him for that matter.
But when you look at it now from a citizen's point of view, when you have a rogue police force sect, because it's a sect, it's not all cops, then what are the dangers? Already we can see a death. So that's for us as citizens, but even for them as a force.
You see, there was a time when police were being told to shoot to kill criminals. And that is what ruined things. Yes, someone is a criminal, and the whole society knows he's a criminal. But when you set a policeman to kill that person, they will do it. But after some time, one day, they will kill a person who opposes them as policemen. And then when you come, they'll tell you what? As a politician, I have killed for you before. I have killed on your behalf. You have sent me to kill so many people. Why do you have a problem when I kill the one who is bringing me problems? When you open a window for people and you allow them to kill other people, it will be very hard for you to then come and distinguish and say, this was an armed robber, that's why we told you to kill them, but this one is a political enemy, you shouldn't have killed them. Don't open that window completely. Let us train our police. If someone is running and you must shoot the legs, maim them, jail them. If it be for life, let it be. So that when that window of killing others is closed, then it becomes very hard to have an excuse for having killed somebody. We are not safe. People don't trust our police. Our cells are no longer safe. We don't feel well protected. We don't feel like there's a law that is helping us. But what do we do?
So, I'm actually worried of how the police will revive trust, because trust is very important. And when citizens can't trust the police, then we have a problem, because it will get to a point where, because that lack of trust would lead to people now disrespecting the police. That means we will not have law and order. So how do the IG and the entire force then revive this trust?
The problem is that we are thinking the police are the problem, and it is them who've made us lose trust. No. The problem is who gave those orders. It's probably a civilian.
But the complainant was the DIG.
No. You remember what the story was? They said that policemen have been collecting money from young people, and it's been going up. They said that at some point inafikia wale wakubwa to the tune of 100 million in a month. And it is true. When we were younger in the 90s, for those of us who are millennials, there was something called Jaza, where police used to come with a Land Cruiser, or that time it was a Mahindra, and any person they found on the road, they would carry. And then when you go to a police station, you realize you're in a cell and you need to buy your freedom. So people would give 500, 1,000, 200, whatever amount of money they would be able to collect. And then that money would have been collected and it would go all the way up to as far up as it can go. Only that the good thing is it doesn't get to God. He doesn't take bribes. But it starts from the constables and goes all the way up the chain. So this blogger, and actually he's a teacher, just calling him a blogger is reducing him for what he was, is speaking about an ill that is touching from a constable and going up the ranks to the very top. And so anybody who has been a beneficiary of that kind of money is unhappy. We want to put the police on notice. We have been seeing what you've been doing to our young people, especially weekends. Tumerudi tu ile ujinga ya KANU. Can you imagine? A Land Cruiser just comes, pulls over in a shopping center, they start arresting young people. Ovyo. Munapelekwa cell. And then you will live there with money. It has become a criminal extortionist gang in uniform and with guns and using public police cells. And that is what is hurting Kenyans. Kenyans are speaking about it because they are going through it. And even if I don't speak about it, someone else will. So it has to be spoken about. That this needs to come to an end. People need to be content with their salary or to quit that job and let other people do it.
Okay. When you speak about maybe the collection of bribe and all that, if you flip the coin, have we looked enough at the affairs of our policemen? Salaries, healthcare, housing?
You see, our policemen are not suffering alone. I mean, what a policeman earns is what probably a P2, P3 teacher earns. So are we saying that the teachers now should also start being corrupt because their affairs have not been looked at? I think people get the government they deserve. And 7.1 million Kenyans voted for this administration. And I remember Uhuru Muigai Kenya, Uhuru ko happy. He used to say, Inyue. He was so angry. Like, my guy. He used to even to bite his... Uhuru tried warning us. He told us, he told us so many times, you guys don't know what you're doing. You don't know what kind of government you're bequeathing unto yourselves. But they told him what? Dynasty Baya. Maliza uende. I think here we are. Let us pay this price. Let everybody who queued to vote for William Ruto pay the price for the election. There's no other way. You can't. They have apologized. They are sorry. But let them know that this is what they brought us to. And let them live with it for the next 2.5 years. That way, I hope by 2027 we shall have learnt our lesson.
And let me ask something that has been, of course, it's something we talk all the time, politicizing the police for own interests. How are we going to get out of that? Because we know it is there. We have seen it, even if we don't pinpoint. We know it happens. That's why we see cops, if I'm unhappy, and especially politicians, you say something about me, I'm a politician, cops come and arrest you.
That will take a long time before we can get away from. Because the idea is to make them poor and buy them cheap. They've done that to Kenyans, and now they're doing that to policemen. It is system. Don't you think that they don't know the police don't have enough money? They wouldn't want the police to have enough money to make independent choices. They wouldn't want the police to have enough money to take their children to good schools. They would want the police to live in tin houses if they could. Ile around, mlikuwa mnagawanya na pazia. You are married on this side, your colleague is not married, you share that tin house, the toilet is outside. That is what they would want. So that when that politician hears, ni MCA, watch hata MP, anasikia MCA wa area fulani, that policeman is like, yes, sir. What can I do for you, mheshimiwa? Yes, sir. That's what they want the policemen to be. We, on the other hand, would have wanted a better life for them. But politicians will not allow it to happen. So that they have loyalty that they can buy at a very low price.
Wow. Okay. You had touched on the presidential apology that the president gave on the National Prayer Breakfast Day and said that if the government had wronged the young people especially, he was sorry about it. Now, when you look at the happenings that have happened, this is after, I think, 2 weeks after the apology, and then we have this happening. What message is coming out?
I think he's going to say, if he died, then I am sorry. That's how he's going to say it, if he died. The president would have been good if he came today and read a statement and said, I have received the resignation letter of Lagat. That would be good. That would be something. I told Kenyans that apology was not intended. And by the way, people are forgetting there was one other young person alikuwa amepelekwa Upper Hill. Na SG walikuwa wamemtoa wapi. But he had moved quite a distance. He was in Upper Hill. Wenye waliona ni kumoto sana. And thank you to everybody who has spoken about this. Because speaking about it has made them realize, wait a minute. No Kenyan is too little. No Kenyan is too small. You know, they are thinking, oh, if we arrest someone of a big caliber, that's when they will be public. Kenyans don't care. Even if you arrest someone who is a janitor and you have infringed on their human rights, we will speak about it. We will come to where we will make noise. We will offer we will lend our voices because we want that nonsense to stop. Yes, so that's where we are. And
when you look at it, this is we are heading to 1 year since the June 25th killings of so many young people during the protests, Reject Finance Bill 2024. And then this happens a year on. Are we a society that really forgets, not us, the citizens, because the citizens have been speaking out all through? Is it that politicians have gotten to a point where that 1 year didn't mean anything?
It is 2 weeks to the main day.
Yes.
And they are just reminding us, we can kill you. I think, I don't know, I sometimes I'm tempted to think that this government is run on blood. Because every other single day they are looking for a fresh supply of blood. They just have to pour blood. I don't know how it helps them, but somehow this government doesn't run if blood is not being poured every other place. And it's sad because it's human blood. The 25th is coming. Doesn't this government think that, maybe they want to arc us and annoy us so much so that we all come out on the 25th and then they shoot us again? Maybe they need more blood. I don't know. What other explanation would you give? Maybe they were just maybe they just want to, mmesema kasirika, wacha ni wakasirisha zaidi, tuone vile mtafanya. That can only be the message. It's like you telling your neighbor, please stop throwing stones on my roof. Stop throwing stones on my roof. And then they remember when they are just about to commemorate 1 year since you threw a very big one and that cracked their window. You come 2 weeks to that time and you crack another window. Then you want to, mutafanya nini. I think that's what they are telling us.
I remember during also the prayer breakfast, Mheshimiwa Beatrice Elachi made a very, very interesting prayer. And one of the things she was raising is to pray for the spirit of social media. So my question at this point is, social media is what has brought the issue of Albert to the light. Social media is what made the top cops give a presser. Social media is what has brought all this to light. What spirit are we fighting then?
I want to do bad manners, but I have a problem with the bad manners getting to people very quickly. So this thing that is getting my bad manners to the people very quickly is the problem. The problem is not my bad manners. That's what Elachi was saying. I am entitled to do bad things, but you are not entitled to let Kenyans know that I'm doing bad things. In fact, the medium that you are using to tell Kenyans that I'm doing bad things, that medium is the problem. It is not me. Me, I can go and kill anybody I want. But you shouldn't let people know that I'm killing anybody I want. And any modern method you use to make it get to Homa Bay very quickly. Kitambo ilikuwa telegram na kutuma barua. Na if it was kitambo, leaflets would have been thrown all over. But this one is their own social media. So the problem is not social media. The problem is that there's a person who is a doer of bad things. And they have a problem when those bad things come out to light.
Okay. Maybe a final, as we discuss this whole idea of, not even idea, the whole mess that is happening of abductions, killings, and all this. What would be your take on respect for human rights? Considering just the other day we were here castigating Tanzania, now we are back home on the same. Just a different cop, perhaps.
You get what you elect. When you get someone who has got a history of bad human rights records from 1992, Youth for Kanu 92, all the way to post-election violence, and you make them head of state, and then you start saying, oh, he killed, oh my God, he can, oh, they shot others. Oh, what are you owing about? This person has been doing it for over 30 years. And now it's happening again. And then you are, oh, I'm shocked. What are you shocked about? So we are here because we are here. And it will take us some time to come out of it. But I urge Kenyans, let's keep vigilant. Let's keep talking about it. Let's keep taking those videos. Let's keep posting them online. In fact, sasa wanaenda kushika mtu na kaprobox, take a video, take photos, share them everywhere. That's what is going to save this country.
All right. And we wish all the best to, the family of Albert, not even the best. We just send our condolences and hopefully this case will be brought to justice, these are the victims of police issues. We have not forgotten the Kianjokoma brothers. We have not forgotten Rex Masai, and the list can go on and on. So we hope that these victims get justice sooner than later. Now let's switch a bit to politics. And we have seen you on the road with Rigiji.
Yeah.
From where you all brought us the high cousins.
Yes.
What happened? The last time we spoke, you were very independent of sticking to your own party and not joining any of these leaders. Have you just switched your words and joined the politician's talk?
First, I'll start by telling Kenyans hi cousins. And then I'll get right into it. Now, I want to be in parliament because we can only make so much noise outside of parliament. Now, I have identified a constituency where I was born and brought up and I live, Dagoretti South. Ndio nitoe MP mwenye yuko huko because you people know him. He told you that, it was Photoshop. He told you abducted yourselves. And so many other things he's told you. So I go to these people. And every time I go there, every weekend, because I live there, they tell me, uende urudi ukinuka wa Monyoro. I tell them, we need to go this particular direction. I think I can go as an independent. They told me the only independent thing wanajua ni post ya stima. So I have tried as much as I could, and I discovered one thing. In Dagoretti South, people are telling me they are in DCP. And people are telling me they will only listen to me if I come wearing our Munyoro branded merchandise. What choice do I have? These are the voters. And the voter is right many of the times. Anyang' Nyong'o tried going against Raila Odinga. With all his brilliance, you know what happened. James Orengo tried going against Raila Odinga in Nyanza. You know what happened. I think the most important thing is to get into DCP. And once you are in there, to remind them that there are ideals we stand for. And these are fights that we are going to fight from inside. And they are listening. I mean, I have had conversations with him along the way. That is Rigiji. I've had conversations with Cleophas Malala, the deputy party leader. I've had conversations with the senator for Nyandarua. And they are in agreement. They are saying there's a perception that people have of Rigiji. But at the same time, there is Rigiji, the person. And he's willing to accommodate. And by the way, ukisikia anasema kusikiza ground, we truly are listening to the people. So I am in DCP for now, not because of anything.
For now, why are you putting for now?
Let me tell you. Because people are asking me why I'm there now. Yeah. And why not wait until the elections and everything. But you have to decide what you want. And I have decided that I want the Dagoretti South seat. And the people of Dagoretti South have told me, boss, we are going to vote for DCP. They even told me, if a monkey comes in DCP colors, we'll vote for a monkey. They told me, you're a good candidate and we love you so much. Take this ticket, because if you don't take it, we shall give it to anything that will come wearing these colors. You go and tell them, what if I come independent? They told you, you go. Even if you want to come independent, we will say, hi, cousin, and then we will vote for the DCP candidate.
Doesn't that then say, as voters, we haven't woken up to the reality of, I'm not saying you're a bad leader, but that's just you. What if in other places, the same thing that happened? Oh, this is a child of, oh.
I'll tell you this, and this is a message that every young person needs to know. We said 25th of June is coming, and young people want a message. You remember last year we were saying Occupy Parliament. But we were saying Occupy Parliament as a young person, twende tukule mchele na tuchukue ile mess. That was Occupy Parliament. Now the Occupy Parliament that I'm introducing to young people today is zimebaki viti 289. Moja nishachukua, nakimbia nayo sana. Is to say, wait a minute, why don't we get 290 young people occupying Parliament as members? Are we together? 290 people making a conscious decision that we are going to occupy Parliament as members. Once you make that decision, go and check the reality of where you are being voted for. If you go to Kasipul Kabondo and they tell you in Kasipul Kabondo, we want a party that looks like a tree, make sure that you are that young person who wins the nomination of that party that looks like a tree. If you go to Kapsaret and you want to unseat Oscar Sudi, and those people tell you that they still want a wheelbarrow, please get into that wheelbarrow party. But make sure you are the MP for Kapsaret. Because the reality on the ground is, ODM will still get very many seats in specific places. Wiper will get very many seats in specific places. This idea that we are thinking, and I was of that school of thought, that we can all come as independents and win will be very hard because the voter hasn't changed. And I'm sorry, the voter has not changed. The guys who voted for Ruto still have their votes in their pockets. The voter has not changed. So what you do as a young person is decide. In fact, this beautiful lady, Njeri, what was her first name? The one that they arrested because of the website. Rose, please, wherever you are, we have one more assignment for you as a country. We want you to build for us another website for Occupy Parliament. And that website is for saying that young people want to occupy Parliament as members. And we are going to map out the 290 constituencies. And then on that website, we are going to declare the people that we do not want to see back in that Parliament because of the things they've done and the things they've said and the insensitivity they have showed. Now, once you help us build that website, the young people are going to propose 3 names per constituency. And then all of us will focus our energies on helping those young people to become members of parliament there. Why don't we give this nation a shocker and get 290 fresh young people? But I will tell you the formula is that if you are in a place where everybody is singing Wiper and they don't want to listen to anything else, you'd be foolish to come and tell them something different. You will not win. Join that Wiper, but be the Wiper candidate there with a different idea. If you come, and I am not campaigning for wheelbarrow party, I hate it. I have always said from the beginning, I have no soft words for it. But if you come from the hotbed where only UDA MCAs can be elected, just join that party and make sure you're the candidate in that party. That's why I'm in DCP. I am in a place where those people who I listen to want me to be in DCP for them to elect me. So whoever you are, hata kama uko Northeastern, there's a party they love there. If you're in Western and they say they want Ford Kenya or they want DAP, please don't let anybody lie to you that joining that party is being foolish. Is the only way tutamii tuko sisi wote 290. Mkumbuke ni 289 juu moja ni kama sitting already anaitwa Fanya Mambo Dagoreti. So the other 289 nisaidieni. Tuingie sisi, we occupy parliament in a different way and we change.
What is the place of the youth in the DCP party now that you've joined?
Let me tell you, anybody who will join any party, there's no place for you. You make your place. There are people who are thinking you'll go to the party, they'll tell you, welcome. You know, this is not a church. Atiko again, who is new today? Those things you do on Sunday in church will not happen. You'll go in there and you'll start now creating and pushing for your own space. If the Sifunas of this world had gone into ODM and started saying, mwageni tunakaa wapi? Kwa youth ni wapi? Chai ni ya saa ngapi? No. When you get into a political party, realize that you've not gotten into a church. You've gotten into a political mess. Now create your space inside there. Fight to be seen. Go for those seats. Display some people if you may. But make sure that you carry the flag for the area that you want to represent.
All right. I think that's an interesting way to look at it, because the young people really struggle to join these old parties. But then we have to understand politics is just it's a dirty game, as they say, and it's very local for that matter. Now, we've been seeing a lot of drama between the people's deputy president and the elected. Well, let's go for deputy. That's what the constitution says. Yeah. So between Rigathi and Kindiki, what is happening? Why are we having these people have a war of words every weekend especially for that matter?
One, I told you, unashamedly, I am very happy to say this. I accompanied Rigiji on his tour, right from Nairobi all the way to Kilifi. And we spoke in several places, and I thank Wananchi. You know, these media things we do. You go to Changamwe in the middle of nowhere, and there are 5-7 people saying Fanya Mambo. They know you. Like, yeah, they know you. Rigiji has something going for him that's not happening for the deputy president Kindiki. Everywhere government is going, they are spending a lot of money. Yani hata tuliona ati, you saw that bag from Kimani Ichung'wah that had 6.7 million. They are spending so much money wherever they are going to get people who you saw in Thika and Embu, they were singing for them, yes sir. They were repeating after everything else, yes sir. And Duale had a big problem. The reason there's a big war of words is because Deputy President Kithure Kindiki is finding politics very expensive. Everywhere they are going, they are giving borders. They are spending a lot of money, including giving people beans that don't get haziivi, ni ngumu sijui alitoa wapi. Now, Rigathi, on the other hand, when we got to Emali, the crowd was like, nyinyi mmetoka wapi? And we had even some places we had not planned to stop. But they had heard that we are coming, like engineer, and they were waiting for us. No mobilization, no money spent, and we speak to them. And in fact, we get there, they're telling us one term. We don't even need to tell them. We've come to listen to you, and they're saying, sisi huku ni one term. And everywhere we went, up to and including Mombasa, we found people who wanted nothing from us other than for us to remind them that we are helping them to remove William Ruto from power. Now, what is hard for Kindiki is to fathom that. How is this guy going to Changamwe? Now, tulisema he's tribal. People said Rigathi is tribal. They said he can only be elected in Mount Kenya. They said he spends his time in Mount Kenya. He goes to Changamwe, in the heart of Mombasa. And the people received us so well. And they clapped and they shouted. And they said they support what he's doing. What Deputy President Kindiki is forgetting is that when you stand up for the right thing, when you do the right thing, people come in their numbers and support you, and they would die for you. And because Rigiji is speaking the right message, he's saying SHA is not working. He's saying you are killing our young people. He's saying stop misusing our people. Those things resonate with Kenyans. And that's why alikuwa unaona mama anakata mboga, anaacha. Mama mboga wa ukweli si ile ya bottom up ya uongo. Anakuja kutusikia. Mtu anauza minazi, anaacha nazi zake. They come, they listen to us. And we had a chance to also ask them, munaonaji wananchi, and they would tell us. Now Kindiki on the other side, they are putting people in a place. They are paying them to attend. It's not a lie. Call anybody who has attended those things. They'll tell you they are paid to attend. And then once they finish, they have to bribe them. Give them money, give them beans, give them whatever. The only thing we sold wherever we went was hope. And people bought it for free. And they gave us a lot of love. And they called us cousins.
Very interesting. When you think now that you've mentioned what Professor Kindiki or the DP is doing across different regions with the empowerment, leave what the DP is doing. Last week we had video evidence of what the Kapsaret MP is empowering his people with, vis-a-vis what the empowerment that was being done in Murang'a. People are getting, motorbikes, those kisiagi, I don't know what, a lot of good things that can actually empower a community. Literally, that's empowerment. Then the videos that were in Murang'a were actually of people getting 2 kgs of beans. So, and they still called both empowerment. So at what point do wananchi open their eyes to see what empowerment is? Because if you get a bike, you can actually use it to help yourself. This is literally looking at it on a basic level. That can change your life, vis-a-vis someone getting 2 kgs of beans.
Kenyans, please look at me in the face. Let's have a conversation. When you elect brains to parliament, you get blueprints. When we elected Anyang' Nyong'o, they gave us the poverty reduction strategy paper.
Yes.
Something that doesn't rot. They gave us Vision 2030, the Kibakis of, may he rest in peace. Had we followed Vision 2030, you would never need to give motorbikes to people. When you elect zero brains to parliament, what they do is they do poverty management, not poverty eradication. And what you are seeing is poverty management. A boda rider is still a poor person.
Better managed than someone with
They're just
perhaps
managing poverty. And also, think about it this way. What happens when the boda breaks down? It's unsustainable. But when you come up with an economic blueprint and say, this is Kapsaret, what is, like now, for example, what cash crop grows here? And what can we do in perpetuity to sustain that cash crop and make money from it? A person who tells you of coffee reforms is doing empowerment. A person who tells you they're giving you a bicycle or a motorbike, that person is doing poverty management. Ni kuweka drip kama ile ya hospitali into poverty, and then you're dripping like this.
Maybe their drip is better.
Let us understand this, and I want Kenyans to understand this. It costs about 150,000 to have that kind of boxer bike. That's what it costs. Why are we taking money that literally was stolen from Kenyans? Because there is no budget for it. This MP spent much more money than he can earn in 5 years in one empowerment project. So this is stolen money. Why don't we take stolen money and give to 100 young people? How is that empowerment? There was a road in Kimwarel Dam. When you see someone giving you a tank, slap them. Mutupe na hiyo tank yake, uchome hiyo tank.
No, but Fanya Mambo,
let me answer you.
Let me tell you. Just a few days ago, you told us to, when they bring money, consume the money, but don't vote for them.
I'll tell you why that tank is bad. I'll tell you why. When you give 200 people tanks, In a constituency with 75,000 voters, what have you done? Don't bring the tanks. Go and fix Aror and Kimwarel Dam. Pipe water to every home. That is what we need. That is sustainable. And why it's sustainable is because every home will have a meter and there will be a bill for water. And now government begins to generate revenue from having to build a dam. Anybody coming to give tanks, you give 200 tanks. How do you choose 200 people in a constituency of 75 to 100,000 people? How did you narrow down to these 200? You make the others feel bad. Unakuja unapeana machine ya posho mill. And then it's not sustainable. So what we want, what is true proper empowerment is you cannot give a tank to everybody, but you can pipe water for everybody. Now that is government. When you are in government, you do things that are 50 years looking. And that's why for me is when you come and say you're giving a sewing machine to those people, kazi watafanya nini? Kupunguza trousers nye mmenunua kutoka China. Because the reason you go there is you want to make a shirt or you want to repair one. Hiyo machine ya kushona nguo sio itawasaidia. It's about having a conversation, a very deep conversation about cotton and how we can start having our own clothes made here. That is sustainable. Because mtakuwa mnatoa cotton hapa, mnatengeneza nguo hapa, mnauza pale. Mnatoa cotton hapa, mnatengeneza nguo hapa, mnauza pale. That is continuous. But sitting here with a sherehani, waiting for the person who will come and ataka kushonewa nguo is not sustainable. So you cannot call that empowerment. That is poverty management. Na hata sitaki kuongea mambo ya maharagwe, juu ni maharagwe hivi. Kwetu Mount Kenya walikuwa wanapatiwa maharagwe, that gorogoro you're given, it will take a whole mukebe. That gorogoro 2 kg is about 160 shillings. Makaa, mkebe moja ni 100 bob. You need 2 mikebes kupika hiyo maharagwe yao hivi. So you spend 200 shillings boiling beans that were worth 160. Hata ni hasara walipeleka watu wetu.
I'm just wondering, I hope people in Mount Kenya can see the difference also in how, in how an MP treats them. Because if you're going to spend 160 more,
they ended up changing. Hii Afrika walileta vitu kama zile za Sudi. Ama walileta zile vitu za Sudi huku. Because there's another question. Have you seen what politicians do when they give something to someone? First, hiyo bike hawekangi karatasi ya A4 ati Honorable Alice Nganga hapa juu. A politician will brand that bike at a brand mpaka spokes, zile za mguu. The fact that they put a clean white paper on it goes to confirm what Kenyans were fearing, that these things could be returned to sender. During the campaigns, very many churches were given money. And more than half of that money was taken back immediately after the church. I mean, we saw schools that were given buses, a whole bus. Watoto wanafurahi alafu kesho wanalia school bus imerudi. Baka wanafikiria ni principal ameuza. That is the nonsense we've come back to. And if you don't believe me, I want us to see. Naomba mi na kuchallenge wenye walipoa motorbike. Kesho mchukue selfies na videos museme mimi naitwa Francis ama naitwa Martin ama naitwa Joroge. Na nabebeanga stage fulani ya place fulani na hii ni ile bike nilitoa kule kwa empowerment. Then we'll believe them.
Okay.
We are yet to see a Kenyan who is celebrating and saying, this is the bike I got on Saturday. Hatuoni, hatujizi kwa wapi. Which politician will brand a bike they are giving you with a white paper hapa mbele? They usually brand mpaka huko ndani ya tank, mpaka kwa engine. Uonange ni alikupea. So we have not been totally sold to that nonsense. We are yet to believe it. Because usually, mtu akipewa kitu ya empowerment, mtu akiwa mshindi, hata wale walikuwa nashinda homo pick a box, the whole village used to know. Right now in the digital age of information, I'm yet to see, na kama mmeona mtu ambie, one guy who is celebrating something they were given from the empowerment.
Okay.
Apart from the beans guys.
the beans guys.
And we have avoided sitting next to them during that time.
Okay. As we come to an end, I mean, opposition politics has been revived in Kenya, sort of. I think we've had a gap where we've had an opposition, but we're just there, lull. What impact is this that Rigiji is creating, that now we are seeing a very active Kalonzo Musyoka, who's always in opposition, but just nothing much?
I think Rigiji has a lot of fire. Rigiji has a lot of fire in his belly. This guy, I know he's very brilliant. I never thought I would live to say such things about Rigiji. You Kenyans know I used to fight this gentleman very much. But when I got on a campaign trail with him, you can't hide organic love. Unaenda mtu, the one that hit me was Kilifi. Huku ni Kilifi, munashangilia Rigiji hivi. This is Kwale. And it's not like, I can tell you, there are places we had planned to stop along the way. That I can tell you. Emali was one of them. But a place like Engineer, a place like Mazeras was by the way. Tulifika and people flooded the road. If anything, we would have caused traffic jam. And I must thank that Kalonzo Musyoka you are speaking about. Kalonzo Musyoka is the one who said, please, I beg us to go out of the road and speak on the roadside. And still there was traffic jam. So it has hit me that when you start fighting for Kenyans, when you start doing what Kenyans want you to do, because Kenyans want to fight William Ruto, by all means, he's killed their children and many other atrocious things. When you do that and they see you to come out strongly, Kenyans love you for free, regardless of where you are. We went to Kwale. I was a little bit shaken because I thought we will find hostility. People were even giving us madafu. Mumekuja. Someone anakukatia madafu anakuambia have this. And then you're like, ni how much? Anakuambia, ile vita mnatupigania nimekupea madafu. And wherever you are, mtu wa Kwale ulinipea madafu for free. God bless you. So Rigiji is changing things. And I like what Kalonzo Musyoka has become. He's taken up his space. He's fighting with everybody. I mean, the people of Ukambani welcomed us so well. So well. And when we told them, hi cousins, by the time we were going down, they told us we also have other cousins. They are our neighbors, the people of Taita Taveta. They are neighbors to the people of Ukambani. And so they made us to love one another very much with the people of Taita Taveta. So they also became our cousins. And by the time we were going down, the people of Taita Taveta told us, okay, najua sisi ni Wataita wa Taveta, lakini kuna Wagiriama na Wamijikenda. And they are also our cousins down the road. So by the time we were going down, the love from Voi had extended to those parts of Kwale and Kilifi and Mombasa town itself. And now that tribalism thing is dead. That thing that people were trying, because it is true. And you had seen it when the Oscar Sudis of this life had started saying, ati wale ni wa kabila. They wanted to create another narrative of 42 tribes against one. Thank you, Rigiji. Thank you to the people of Ukambani. Thank you to the people of Voi. Thank you to every other person we met along that road. Because they have refused. They have said there is no one tribe versus the rest of the nation. We just have thieves versus Kenyans. And Kenyans are going to fight against anybody who is stealing their resources. We just have people who are killing our Gen Zs versus the rest of Kenyans. And Kenyans do not want to have a conversation with people who are killing our Gen Zs. They've just killed one, hata hatujazika. So, thank you, Rigiji. Thank you, Kalonzo. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, even Eugene Wamalwa. There are so many of you. Oh, our wonderful Senator Onyonka. Na by the way, alisema nilete salamu. Onyonka was with us, and he brought a lot of love from Kisii. He brought a lot of... And he speaks for Matiang'i, by the way. Authoritatively, he has that authority. And Matiang'i is part of that opposition. That's why I'm telling young people, for the first time, we have so many tribes coming together and speaking not as tribes, but as Kenyans. And speaking not about tribal issues, but about issues that affect Kenyans. Young people being killed, SHA, all those things we spoke along as we were going. Kenyans got to see them. So I will repeat, if you allow me, without failing. If you're a young person and you are in Kisii, the county or Nyamira, and it is so clear that for you to become a member of parliament there, you have to align yourself with a particular person in that area, whether it would be Matiang'i or Simba Arati or something. Please don't fight the tide. You'll make a mistake that some of us made. I have made that mistake before. Please. There is that ideal you want. But the reality is, there is that place where you'll get your seat from. If you're in Moyale, usikie ile chama iko huko imechorwa ngamia, aki ya nani, usiende kwa chama imechorwa kuku. Go fight from inside that party. we'll have a collection of many young people coming from very many other parties in parliament, but our ideology is the same. When we get there, we shall speak as one. But if you start fighting people who are more forceful than yourselves, like now, if I had gotten my 10 young people, my 10 young friends, would we have been able to do such a road tour? Would we have been able? Because these people have also built a name over time. Why is Rigiji being received? He was Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So Fanya Mambo says he wants to create a wave where I was Deputy President of what? I was Vice Chairman of what? I was National Chairman of what? I am not belittling myself, but I'm saying Kenyans have a huge association with people who've built a name over time. And Kenyans have shown that they will trust you if you've built your name over time. Let us build our name over time. Okay. Let us not jump before we can walk. Let us just walk. Let us win. That's the most important thing. Let us be in parliament. Young people, close your eyes and imagine yourself in parliament and work out your journey towards parliament. Because that's the only way we shall have capture. Mnasikianga state capture. Sisi kama Gen Z na millennials, we are going to have a state capture. We will have a parliament capture. We occupied parliament physically. Now we have to occupy parliament as members. We must. We must occupy parliament as members in 2027. Okay, interesting. As we come to an end, we have seen today a warrant of arrest has been issued by the police to one of their own, musician come police, Samidoh. And I think in response, Samidoh has shared a photo of himself holding the image, a portrait of George Floyd, the guy who was murdered by cops in the US and brought about the Black Lives Matter thing. And his caption actually reads, "Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not to themselves. Abraham Lincoln." What do you think Samidoh is saying? Samidoh is fighting a fight. And he's fighting a fight that must be fought. When we said that we have given democracy to Kenyans, it meant even the freedom for our policemen to hold a political opinion. Our policemen have been made to appear like they are human beings who live in mass, and they therefore cannot speak when government is doing wrong. Very many of them are not happy with the assignments they are given. You send a Gen Z policeman to go and beat up another Gen Z about that Gen Z on the street who is saying that even these cops are badly paid. Samidoh is fighting a fight that must be fought. Human life is sacred. It doesn't matter whether you're a policeman or you're a president or wherever you are. Human life is sacred. It is sacred, it is sacred, it is sacred. So if Samidoh feels that the shooting and killing of our young people is wrong, he should be allowed to air that. If he feels that a young person should not die in a police cell, he should be allowed to do that. Sending a warrant of arrest against him, if his only crime is to speak up the truth, if his only
No. The statement said he has absconded duty for 10 days. So
okay,
yeah,
now
that's what
I have not read the Police Act, so I don't know what they are supposed to do when someone has not attended duty for 10 days. I mean, we as Kenyans don't also want to pay someone who is not doing their work. I mean, it's only good manners to do what you're paid to do. It's just good manners, wherever you are. I mean, I wouldn't be here advocating for anarchy, because one day I know Kenyans will vote for me. For sure they will. And then once I am voted, I come and change and start saying, this person missed work for 10 days. Then you will play my clips here, because people forget. Play my clips here and say, regardless, you were supposed to have been there. I think if there is good grounds for Samidoh to be arrested for not attending to his work, I think that's a fair thing. But let it be done procedurally, let it be fair, and let it be true. That's all we've always asked for. We are not saying that anybody who does bad manners in Kenya should get away with it. No. We are saying even for those who do bad manners, let us do it procedurally. Let us bring them before court procedurally. Let them have a fair hearing. If there's someone is going, there's nothing as good as going to jail knowing enyewe, nimesikizwa, I have had my day in court, and evidence has worked against me. That person will serve their term in jail. But when you feel that it's a bad process, then it's wrong. So Samidoh, continue fighting. It's a fight that must be fought, that our policemen also need to be allowed to have freedom of conscience.
All right. Very interesting episode this one has been. Thank you for watching. Any final words before we call it a wrap?
You know where everybody is living, because these final words take me back to the issue of empowerment. There is a syndrome that exists in this country. I think I'll give it a name. It's called Nyinawa Matini. Nyinawa Matini is this Kenyan who thinks that a muheshimiwa is a panacea of all the problems that people face. So if somebody has a harambe for school, muhesh fulani hajatoa pesa. If somebody is sick, muhesh fulani hajatoa pesa. And when kikam ametoa pesa ngapi. They forget that this person, their pockets are not endless. They have a limit, and they even have their own problems. That leads to people becoming thieves because they need to satisfy that appetite. We must kill that thought in the process of people who think that a politician is the panacea of all the problems that they have. And we must start showing them that instead of Muhesh coming and giving 10,000 in a harambe for medical fund, let Muhesh go and fight for SHA to work. Because when SHA works, then hakutakuwa na harambe ingine kwa mtaa. Let this Muhesh go and fight for pipe to water for everybody. But this Nyinawa Matini and Talton, that thing of, they even call that person and tell them, when utakuja kutetea, tulete Muhesh. Anapeana tank moja huku muna celebrate. You cannot feed a constituency on one tank of water. I am vying in a place that has got close to 120,000 voters. You cannot give tanks to 120,000 voters. But by dint of policy, by coming to such a show, by making noise, it is possible to pipe water to all those people. And then you don't have to have a small god that you're dependent on. I mean, you can't brand underground pipes, but you can brand tanks. Let us insist on those things that politicians cannot brand. Those things that politicians, if you put up a factory, a small bacon factory, for example, in a place that has got so many swine, you can't brand every sausage that comes from that place. But you'll have touched very many lives. I'll grow my pig, take it there, they make bacon, they pay me. A cycle that repeats itself. Like in your border, it will break down after 1 week. To break down after 1 month. And those people don't even have the means to sustain that. So let us do things that are sustainable.
All right. That's a very nice place to end it. And for me, I think it will be to remind us as citizens to always stand for what is right. Doesn't matter on which side you belong. Just stand for truth and justice. Thank you for watching this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. And by the way, remember, we're also on Spotify. You can catch us there. Very interesting episodes, of course. See you on the next one.